at, let's make it 6:04 p.m. May I have you join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Everybody got, ooh, this is chocolates.
Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I'm going, well, wait, today's only February 2nd. Okay. Carol, could we have roll call, please?
Yes. Commissioner Luciano Boutsen,
Present.
Commissioner Frank Schoenbeck,
Here.
Commissioner Heather Moeller,
Here.
Commissioner Terrell Moore,
Here.
Vice Chair Judy Bory,
Here.
Commissioner D.L. Kine,
Here.
Chairman Wayne Standage.
Here.
Thank you. We have 7 members here today, and we have a quorum.
Thank you. Our next item is consent agenda. The commission may at this time take single action on any or all items listed as consent agenda items. Any member of the commission may remove any item from the consent agenda for discussion and cause a separate vote on the matter later in the agenda. Do I have a motion
Mr. Chair,
to accept the consent agenda?
I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission accept the agenda as presented and approve the minutes from the December 1st, 2021 regular meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got them there, Carol?
I do.
Okay. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Commissioner D.L. Kine,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano Boutsen,
Yes.
Commissioner Frank Schoenbeck,
Yes.
Commissioner Heather Moeller,
Yes.
Commissioner Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Vice Chair Judy Bory,
Yes.
Chairman Wayne Standage.
Yes.
Thank you. It's unanimous.
Okay, so you know the consent agenda is consideration of approval of agenda and approval of regular meeting notes from December 1st of 2021. Okay. Do any commission members have something they would like, something they have attended and would like to share with the other members here?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that work? Okay. I was like, I couldn't tell by your face. I was like, oh. So I attended the Centennial event at Prospector Park, and I thought it was fantastic. It was there for a long hour, so I didn't go, but I did take my dog, Mr. Higgins, and my husband joined me, and we had a hootin' time. We took a lot of pictures. It was a good time. It seemed like a really good turnout.
And a great setting, too.
Yes.
Right.
Or the band, I looked at the band and the mountains
And
behind it.
the weather was nice. It's like, good planning, you guys,
It was
good
a
planning.
beautiful day.
Well, even to piggyback on that, we were, a good selective of us was able to really run it. And just to see the outcome of it was just mind-blowing. So, thank you in the sense of you had a good time.
Nicely done, good job.
And I also attended the Centennial. I worked it actually from, 7 until about 8 o'clock that night. And it was it was a gorgeous day out there. And it was great to see all of our community members out there and a lot of winter visitors out there also,
Yeah.
Enjoying, the atmosphere out there. And then also I attended the John Denver concert in the park at Flatiron. And that was a lot of fun too. Heard a lot of songs I'd never heard before, and it was just really great.
Okay, anybody else?
No comment.
Ms. Young?
Oh, actually, there was something else, yes. So we attended my family and I attended a bingo event Yes, which was pretty, I think it was pretty awesome, pretty awesome. We did not, no.
All right, so that means it wasn't rigged. Okay,
Right.
all right. Just checking.
No rigging.
No rigging, no.
Okay. Our next item will be staff report. Director Langenbach, could you please give us your staff report now, please?
Good evening. Thank you, Chairman Standage, members of the commission. Liz Langenbach, Parks and Recreation Director. I just had a few quick items to report on for the parks. Just a quick update on BLM. We have gotten some of our appraisal details in, and we'll be sharing that with our city manager's office and the council, and we'll be able to report back to you guys once we get all those details together. But we've just received all of that, and I haven't seen all of it yet or all the details, but that is going to help us to kind of decide, are we going to be able to move forward on purchasing the Bureau of Land Management rodeo grounds property. And so we'll definitely have more to share on that next meeting. You'd asked that I bring back and talk about the Apache Trail median and our update on that. And if anybody's driven down Apache Trail this last couple of weeks, you'll see a lot going on. So we've been hauling rock. All the rock is the last part of our section that we just did this last, back in November, the planting. And so Public Works and Parks has been hauling granite and river rock. And then they'll have basically a conveyor will come in and help us to place all of that in the 2 sections of the median that we'd already planted in November. In addition, as you can see this week, Public Works, they are preparing I just lost my whole train of thought, the curb and gutter for the next 2 sections that we'll be doing next year. So kind of what we've been doing is they will come in and they'll do curb and gutter for 2 sections, and then the following year we will plant it and put in the rock and all of that kind of stuff. So really exciting because it definitely looks like things are moving down there, and we'll be really close to completing from Ironwood to Idaho. Not this year, but next year there'll be one more project left, and then we'll be done with that, and we'll be moving on to farther past Idaho. So that's the Apache Trail median. We've had a lot of great comments on that, but it has kind of looked like it was dragging out. It's just really tough getting contractors that can come and get scheduled in. We weren't sure where we were going to be after our planting because of our own schedule of stuff. So this project is a in-house project. Apache Trail median was, instead of going out to a contractor and spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, Public Works and Parks have decided to do it in-house, spread over many years and in a phased approach. And it really relies on when there's a break in the rest of the schedule. So this year was a monsoon year that Public Works did have to address, so that got us we were a little bit behind where we were at the year before. So it's one of those, we get in there as soon as we can, and so I'm really proud of the progress that they've been making. The flowers and the focal points, so I think this group knows that a year ago, we decided that we were going to start bringing back flowers to that focal point area. Our downtown area is really important to us, and we really feel that we want it to look inviting and welcoming to the community, and flowers was always a great way to do that, especially around Christmas where the trees there. But we decided to do a smaller approach so that it wasn't all the money all at once, and as our cactus there had struggled really badly over that last couple of years where there was a bad drought and where even cactus didn't do well. But the golden barrel that were there, did I say sorrel? The golden barrel that were in there, we removed all of the dead ones and then kind of consolidated into 2 rows and are gradually bringing back our flowers. And so we'll be reaching out to the public and just seeing what they think. Do they want us to keep it the way it is? Would they prefer that we go back to flowers in all 5 rows, those kinds of things? I'm curious of your guys' input as well on this item, of how you feel like
Personally, the alternating. I think it's because it's a good fresh pop color. I did notice that. I was just like, ooh.
I agree.
Not that I wasn't happy with the cactus,
Right,
but when I saw the pop of color, I was like, hey, you.
yeah.
Well, they complement each other really well. And,
Agreed.
and the barrel cactus are us. We're at the desert, so we're maintaining the desert identity. as well as throwing in the color with the flowers. So I think the combination looks really good to me, as long as we can keep those barrels alive.
And some of them have grown so big, they'll have to be, those have to be replaced every 10 or so years also. We've moved them to other places when they've gotten too big for that area. And so we'll definitely, if that is the choice to leave them, then we'll make sure that they're fresh and looking good as well. Other thoughts? Okay. I have just signed today our grant funding finally for Silly Mountain. So we hope to be getting that funding into our actual bank here soon. And then the land, so that the one for Silly Mountain is for the Ramada, the restroom, and the fencing. So we hope to be able to start on that project. I would just warn you that construction stuff and projects like that, do take a while, but we will be completing that as fast as we can, as soon as we can get the contractor out with the materials and things like that. But we're really excited because the funding's actually finalized. Land, Water, and Conservation Fund, which is the Superstition Shadows Park grant for tennis courts, lighting, the restroom facility, which is badly needing an overhaul, a lot of other items there, the parking lot. We have not gotten that one finalized yet, but we have gotten our temporary agreement that basically says we can get started, just knowing that we won't get reimbursed until the funding is released. So we do have money in our budget for the parking lot that we can get started on, so they've been working on getting those contracts finalized. Chairman Moore, I know you had mentioned wanting to talk about the contractors and who gets some of those projects. So,
Yes.
so that process isn't something that we bring to this group because it's moving kind of constantly. So we have a procurement code that we do have to follow, but I would be happy if you wanted to set up time with Carol, I can share with you what that looks like and who some of those contractors are at this point. And then if there's other questions you have, we can definitely do that. Anybody else who would like to learn more about that kind of stuff, absolutely, I can share with you individually. There just isn't time in the procurement process to be able to bring it back to this group and share. After the fact, I can certainly tell you who did a project. Big projects like the dog park, Shoals contracting, that goes through a council. Anything that is over $50,000 has to go to council for approval. And so it goes out for a bid process, and then council actually has to approve their contract. So we'll definitely keep you guys in the loop as we get any of those on board.
Thank you.
Yes, you are welcome. And then finally, Silly Mountain, another major thing on Silly Mountain is that we have the Salt Trail Crew, so Superstition Area Land Trust. They are a huge component that helped to create the trails at Silly Mountain, helped to revegetate the scar there and do a lot of the maintenance. They donated the big trail marker signage that's out there. Their group is back now, so again, a lot of volunteers really weren't coming back due to COVID or due to different things, but their crew is back now, and so they've put in about 162 hours in December and January to do it. We had a lot of erosion issues at Silly Mountain after this year's monsoons. We are going to be doing some small reroutes for some areas that are a little bit hard to navigate. We won't be getting rid of any existing trails. We might just make an easier path so that people would have two choices, because this trail system is used by people of all abilities, and we want to make sure that people can get to the areas that they need to. But they are going heavy now, and so you'll see them out there. They're out there most Wednesdays. Wednesday mornings are the days, and they're in various parts of the entire trail system doing some work for us. And then I visited the Botanical Walk when they did that project in the fall, and it's looking really good right now too. So there's a lot of work happening out at Silly Mountain. And that's it for the park section, and I'm going to turn it over to Jamie to share with you on recreation programs and upcoming events and activities. And I just wanted to say before Jamie gets up that Centennial was really a great event, really neat because it was a community-led event that we were able to be a part of and to be able to help out with, but just really neat seeing that community involvement and all the people that actually were there, putting in the work, staying to the end, doing all that cleanup and everything. So I think it was a really great thing for our community, and I just wanted to mention that. And I appreciate everybody who made it out there. I think I saw almost all of you out at the Centennial, and it's really great seeing you guys at events, and especially those that are out plugging away and volunteering and helping, but everybody that kind of came out and participated, we appreciate it. I'll turn it over to Jamie. Valentine giver.
Seems like forever since we've seen each other.
Jamie, I didn't know you had your own cheering section.
I know. Good evening, Parks and Rec Commission members. Yes, Valentine's Day is a little ways away, but we still wanted to show our appreciation for those that show love to us, so thank you guys. Centennial event, you guys have already said it, so I'm just going to say that I love when those things are driven by community volunteers, because then they understand how hard we work, because we do those events a lot. So, but they did, from an event planner perspective, they did a flawless job. It was amazing. A little cold at the end, but that's because I get cold when it's 65. So great job on that. For recreation, on the recreation side of things, the most important thing I'm going to start with, and that is our recruitments for summer employees. It is February, we are cold, and we are not even thinking about the pool. We're not thinking about suntan lotion or swimsuits, but we've been thinking about it for 3 months. Our recruitments have already been open for our seasonal employees. We are recruiting for rec staff to work our summer programs and the multi-gen center. We're recruiting for lifeguards, for swim instructors, and pool management. You guys remember last summer, we were not able to open our pool at 100% capacity, not because of COVID, not because of budget, but because we couldn't find the staff to work it. So we are out there, we are recruiting, we're in the high schools, we're in the colleges, we are creating advertisements to put on social media, to put in print media. I'm asking you guys to also help share the word. So people were a little understanding last summer after we told them the fact why the pool wasn't open. So as soon as we said, hey, do you have a teenager? And they'd be like, yeah. And I was just like, well, that's what we need. We need them to come work for us. We start hiring at 15. We start training next month. So we have the training classes available to train these kids and young adults or teachers or retirees. There is no age limit. We will take them all. They just have to pass the course. So we're really excited about having a summer back in business. So help us push that. We had some events finish up other than Centennial. It was the biggest one out there, but we did have a little tiny event called our Trails and Tales. It was a little 5K out at Prospector Park, and we had a really nice turnout. That event used to be a 5K your way. This year we added bring your dog, and you can do it with your dog, without your dog. That is an annual event. We will keep doing it. We get about 45 to 50 people. It's not meant to be a high-numbered event. It's meant to be an event where we can impact people more on a personal level, and that's exactly what it did. We have soccer going on right now for our youth sports. We also, at the Centennial event, the coolest thing I've ever been a part of in a very long time was the burro racing. Did anybody see the burro racers? They were amazing. Like, I would put one in my car and take it home. They were very cute. Great team of ladies that we worked with to put that on. We are hoping of bringing that back to another event or create and pair it up with something else to make it something annual perhaps that happens here. They loved the backdrop. They loved our community. They loved working with Liz. So thank you for that, because now I think we have a partnership in the future. A couple of things. In December, we did a vaccination event. We partnered with Vestra Labs and the state, and we had over 300 people come through and either get a booster, a first shot, or a second shot. We are continuing this in February, where we have 2 dates in February, February 5th, and then also February 18th. They are free. They are open to the public, but we do take registration. You can find that information on our website. So in your guys' little packet, we've also given out over 300 home test kits to our seniors and our home delivered meals. So we got some of those donated, and we were able to get those out to our seniors. So you guys have this flyer. It looks very busy. That's because that's how I feel. So this is all the cool stuff that we have going on through May. Anything that has an asterisk on it are events that we are always looking for volunteers. If you're interested in volunteering, my email and my phone number is down at the bottom. The more advance notice I have, if I know several are coming, I think we have to do something special because you're a commission. So let me know if you're going to come to an event so I can make sure that we are, politically correct. But so
I mean, this thing is chock full. We are doing something every single weekend. Some of them are big events, some of them are small events, and some of them are in between. There's a really important one in there in May, so if you need clarification, I'll be happy to let you know about that. Then you have this other long page that's stapled together. This is your Parks and Recreation at a glance for 2022. So these are all of our events. Some of them are city events, some of them are partnered events. They're kind of all the signature things that we know happen in our community, along with who the contact is for that. So this is important for you guys as our public reach. When people are asking you, I want to be a part of that event, when does that event happen? I expect for you to carry this around. You can run out to your car and be like, oh, I know who your contact person should be, and you can get them to the correct folks for that. These may change, so if you're looking at something 9 months from now and you really want to make sure that that's, that's the correct date, again, you can email the contact person that's listed there.
Is there a way we can get this digitally too?
Sure, send me an email and I'll be happy to email
In
it
case
to
I lose
you.
it, I'll
Yeah.
have it digitally.
Yes, I'm happy to email them.
You can take a picture with your cell phone too and just make a photo of it. That's what I do with it.
Yeah, but if I have it like as a PDF,
We'll get it, I
It's
actually
stored.
have it saved as a PDF, so we'll get you guys we'll have Carol get you guys a copy of that. There's a couple of flyers in there of some upcoming stuff. And then the last thing that I have that I will segue back over, before that, so in the spring, March, we are going to be launching a new software. So currently we use ActiveNet. We're going to be launching to Civic Rec, hopefully the end of March. We are on track. We just got a good grade from our Civic Rec implementation team. They said, AJ is amazing. You guys are moving at rapid speed. They're very impressed with us. I was not surprised, but I don't know why he was. So I'm hoping that if we continue on that route next March at our next commission meeting, I'll be bringing in Riley King, who is our management analyst, and she's going to give you guys a little preview of that, okay? You guys will, so homework, what do I always give you as homework? Before I see you next month, come see me. Come see me at an event, come see me at the Multi-Gen Center, just come visit, see what we're doing. That's the best way you guys can, give me advice on how to do better. I doubt you'll find anything. Okay, so the last thing I have is that I have a few things for the dog park. Okay. But you guys will have a couple of pieces of paper. They are draft only, and you guys are the first public set of eyes to see this, so be kind, because it's still in draft form. We're really dotting I's and crossing T's. And then you guys are the first ones to receive your Hydro Flask sticker, so super cool about these. So, questions on recreation, programming, events? We've got pickleball coming up. We've got co-ed softball coming up. So much more than what's not in your paper, black and white, but you can visit the webpage too.
And I was about to say that in order for us to kind of see what else is going on, would it be on the webpage?
Yep.
Okay. Then also with these nice stickers, are they going to be for sale, or are we looking to pass them out?
I'm going to have a whole bunch of those for our grand soft opening, whichever we do, but we will have some as giveaways.
Okay.
I don't have them, we don't really sell merchandise
Right.
yet, but we might. But I have plenty to get us through. If you need a couple extra, I can hook you up.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else have questions, comments? Okay, all right. Give it back to my boss, or to Wayne, back to you.
Back to me.
Back to you, Wayne.
Okay. Okay, our next item, ladies and gentlemen, is old business, and we'll be turning this back over to Liz.
Thank you. Okay, let me bring this up. Okay, so this is an item that we've been talking about each of our months, and I kind of just did a quick review. You should have this from your packet from our December meeting as well. But just as a quick reminder, so our general plan that was approved by voters, the 2020 general plan gave us direction that within within a section in there is our Parks, Recreation, and Open Space element. And we talked about wanting to have something more specific for the Parks and Rec Department, that remember that the city's general plan is very general. We want to talk about what is going to be our strategic and our guiding document. So we introduced our Parks and Rec specific planning October 6th. We also shared at our November 3rd meeting the inventory of current facilities, amenities, and we discussed a list of proposed amenities. So all of your new ideas, all the things that had been shared with us previously are all captured. So that way, when we do start going out to the public in some of our next steps, we'll be able to have those as items that they'll be giving some feedback on. So today I'm here, as we talked about last time, to talk about another component of that, which is the 4-year plan for facility refurbishment, replacement, enhancement. So what are the improvement areas in our existing parks? It was another component of our strategic plan that we pretty much have our mission to do. So as a reminder of all the outcomes of master planning, so we wanted to identify and prioritize expansion of parks, and that's going to be based on national standards, as well as our community input that we'll be getting coming, in the near future. Inventorying our existing programs and service areas. I think I had some so we did this last meeting.
Yeah.
We have not done the second part, which was the community input, so that'll be coming up in a future phase. Inventorying our existing programs, service areas, and identifying future needs, that will be at a future meeting coming up. What we are talking about today is assessing our existing facilities and identifying the areas for improvement or expansion. So that'll be the other document that's in your packet today, and we'll go over that, and I'll bring that up on the screen here. That's going to be one of our main topics of conversation today in having to do with this master plan. The other outcomes was to assess the effectiveness of all of our marketing tools. That will be at a future meeting. Inventorying all of our funding sources and developing strategies for maximizing the resources that we have. That will likely be something that we are doing after all of the community input. So once we hear what is wanted, what is needed in our community, and what is our comparison to the national standards, then we'll be looking at to see, well, can we really do them? Do we have funding sources for them? Where can we expand with grants and corporate partnerships, different things like that. And as I said, during many different phases of this whole process, we will be involving the community. So you guys are one of the first steps in that. So you, as our citizen board or our citizen commission, you're going to be having a lot of weigh-in, and you were appointed by our elected city council to do that. But in addition, once we've captured all of our feedback and have everything we want, then we will be spending some time during the spring and the summer to ask our residents, what do they really think and what are they wanting to have? So as I listed here, kind of our next steps, we will have some future commission meetings. So at the next one, we will be talking about the inventory of our program services. That'll be a lot of Jamie information. Also sharing our marketing and promotions, how we handle that. Where are there some gaps that we could be doing? I think we had shared recently, Judy had asked a great question of, without the local newspapers now and it only coming out one time a month, how are we really getting the word out? That is a piece that is missing right now that we don't have an answer for. We're doing a great job on social media. I think we're doing a good job on our website. We have flyers to our schools, but it's the rest of the community. How are they knowing what's coming up? And so we'll have a chance to talk a little bit about that. We've talked about community outreach. That's going to be ongoing really throughout the summer and probably our next event season. We won't be wrapped up with all of our stuff in time for this year's event season, so this will carry over into summer and into the fall. We will then be sharing the results of all of that with the commission, and we will identify potential funding sources, as I shared before, and then the Parks and Rec Commission will adopt our Parks and Rec strategic plan, and so that's really just going to be a document that says this is what we're going to be doing in the next 5 to 10 years as we move forward. So that's kind of the overview, and then we're going to get into the details of the other document I have, but for the overview, does anybody have any questions right now?
No. Anybody have a question?
Okay.
Back to you, dear.
Wonderful. So I'm going to try to you all have this packet. I'm not going to go over every single item that's on here. I just wanted to kind of explain this a little bit. So this is a document that we use. This is our 4-year improvement plan. This is what we created last budget year with the Parks Division, as well as some of the recreation facility staff. So this is our capital plan. These items are the things that cost $5,000 or more to implement. They're major facility improvements. They are park improvements. These aren't the general everyday operating costs. So this isn't the cost of toilet paper and cleaning supplies and small nuts and bolts and things like that. These are big items that have to be fixed in order for our facilities to be safe, secure, and fun to be at and desirable. So I want to just kind of explain to you how to read this and then give you time. You can take a look at it. I will probably point out a few major things on here, but it's really a document for you to look at, and it's going to help guide us later on in some of our decision making throughout the years. We are currently working on, so as you can see, fiscal year 22 is what we're in right now. So when we do a fiscal year, it's July 2021 through June 2022. We are currently in the fiscal year 22. It ends in on June 30th. These are amounts that we budgeted for this year to make improvements at all of our facilities, and we'll kind of look at this here shortly. I'm sorry, this says organization. I probably could have made this better. So we have what's called an org code, an organization code. It's really the facility. So you can see each one of our facilities listed here. They're in alphabetical order. Some of it is even, for example, we have some items that fit into general parks, so maintenance equipment, things like that that we're going to be doing. Items that are in red are items that we have not identified a monetary amount for, or it's in question mark. It might be something that we've identified that maybe we haven't solidified with city manager's office. It might be coming out of a different department's budget, something like that. But if it's in red, it means that it has questions, and that oftentimes it might be a new item that we don't have a true budget number for yet, but we want to make sure it gets on the list as a need. So there's a description of what it is that we are going to be improving, and then the 4 years that we're planning for. So like I said, this year right here, this whole grid was done last year and built upon. So fiscal year 22 is this current year we're in right now. These are projects that our Parks Division is working on implementing in the parks right now. Fiscal year 23 is next year. So starting with July 1st coming up and then going through the next June, those are the projects that we are putting in our budget right now. I don't know whether they'll be funded. We have every bit of hope that they will be, because we were told that we will have some good funds right now coming through that we can look at these projects, but it does compete with all the other projects in the city. So public works street projects, the police department's needs, library, and all of our other needs throughout the city. And then you can see a column for fiscal year 24 and fiscal year 25. And then there's a future column. So there are items that we know are going to need to be improved on. They're not a need immediately, or, you know, we don't have a funding source for them immediately in the next few years. So they are in a future column just so that they don't leave the list. Let's see what else. Justification is really just some notes about it. So the item that we're going to be improving, and then there's notes, especially in the red. It'll tell you maybe why it's in red. You know, we're going to work with another department. We're not sure what the amount is, those kinds of things. I don't remember if I did not do a grand total on this one. Mainly because I don't want to freak everybody out. So some of these are items like, for example, the dog park is listed in here for this year. That's all development fee money. So that's not coming out of our general fund. That money was identified. We've shared this many times with council as well as this commission, that the dog park is being built with development fee monies, which come in. They're a one-time monetary amount that is brought in whenever a new home is built or a new commercial building is built. It is, so basically growth pays for itself in our community. And so that money comes in and it sits in an account. By law, we cannot use the amount that is collected for parks for anything other than the facilities that we have listed in our development fee improvement plan. And so this dog park money, when people say, how can we build a dog park whenever we need a splash pad or whenever we need more schools or whatever, Broadway Road needs to be fixed, whatever it is. The answer is because the money that is in that pot can only be used for the things that we identified long ago, and they can only be used for parks. It's against the law to use them for anything else. So the dog park is being funded by a fund that can only be used for that. And so that's really important to share with our community, that it's not taking money away from other needs that need to be met. So any questions you have? I know you haven't had a lot of time to look at it. You can look at it. You are welcome to call me, set up time with me to sit down and talk about it. We can talk about it at the next meeting if you have questions. It will be part of the agenda. Next time, we're not going to spend a lot of time on it next time, other than unless you had questions of why isn't this on it, or what does this mean? We can certainly do that. But I'm also happy to answer any questions tonight.
I forget, where is Renaissance Point?
Great question. So Renaissance Point and Arroyo Verde are two areas that are so Palm Wash runs through town, and when those neighborhoods that were built around that wash, when they were built 25 or 30 years ago, the city entered into development agreements with them, and they put some public park amenities in them, and these ones happen to be a trail along a wash corridor. And so it'd be awesome if I had a really quick map. I might be able to just pull it up real quick.
Is that the same thing as Cat
Oops.
Trail?
Nope,
Okay.
they are different.
'Cause I was racking my brain on what that was.
I will tell you that one too. I'm only typing in high school because then I can bring up this map real quick, and it's kind of close. Okay, so if you, good grief, this thing is going, I'm going too fast.
Everybody slow down.
Here we go, slow down, slow. All right, so here's the 60. Here's Southern. Here's Superstition Shadows Park, the pool and all of that. Let's see, here's 16th. So Renaissance Point is kind of the neighborhood over here in this area. And so there's a wash that kind of runs through here. And we have a trail system along this wash. Public Works manages this little retention area here. Imagine Prep is in here, right about here, I think. But this wash runs from Delaware on through, and then it crosses Ironwood, and then this is the Arroyo Verde development, and it continues through here, and then it goes on to the rest of this. And all of this is one of our trails. And so I don't know, any of you that might have been here a few years ago when we were doing our Run for AJ, we used to do our 5K series, and we would show people that there's a great trail in town, that if people want to run something safe and something that's a little bit nicer than just the road, that's a really nice area. So that is an area that we inherited whenever the city was trying to attract developers, and then decided developments should just maintain these things. And so when other developments came, they maintained their own recreational facilities. We will be doing it again, though, down south. Whenever they'll be building parks for us, but those are going to be some major amenities. And so those are the types of things that we like to see happening, just because it's just a regional area that we can meet a lot of different needs of. This is a nice little kept secret, though.
And that wash flows south, though, doesn't it?
It flows southwest.
It goes down to.
So it basically comes way up here,
Uh-huh.
and it flows this way through town. And there's almost never any water in it except for during the monsoon, like literally 2 days out of the whole year, but it's hugely crazy, yes. And so there's a lot of improvements that are needed. It's 25 to 30 years of a wash that is, we maintain the trail. There's not a lot of maintenance of the wash itself. Public Works and Parks have done some repair work there, but we are working with Public Works to basically phase in $50,000 to $75,000 a year to go piece by piece and help to manage this wash. The wash itself is a public necessity. It's something that the neighborhood wouldn't be taking care of on their own anyways. It's something that is a responsibility of the city,
And
at least
not a
this
bike
wash.
trail.
Say that again?
Not a bike trail?
I would
Or
just say, I don't think anybody would say a
Yeah.
bike couldn't go down it, but it's pretty small, and I would say it's probably not super desirable, but I mean, it could be. I don't think that they're not allowed to go down it. And then the CAP trail, so Central Arizona Project, the CAP Canal, Maricopa County, Pinal County, there's different master plans, and so our portion of the CAP trail, let me just get out of this a little bit. This will be a good practice for next meeting. I will make sure we have a map to look at of our city, our new city boundaries even, because that'll help us with some of our decision making. So the CAP trail, right along here on the southern border, Pinal County master planned it about 6-7 years ago, maybe a little longer. Wayne, you're part of, yeah, it's been about that. Wayne was involved with the open space group, and then Nick and Jeff were part of the CAP master,
Yeah.
the
So
CAP
was
trail.
Elizabeth Butler.
Yes, yes. So we will be responsible for building our portion of the trail, and then like Florence builds their portion, Coolidge built their portion, and then anything that's not in a city limits, the county takes responsibility of. We have right now a very small 7.5 miles, and almost everything else. So it's really interesting because our new annexed land comes to this side of the CAP trail, and the trail is on this side of the canal, so it's actually still in the Pinal County. So they're still responsible for building it. Me and Kent were like, I was like telling Kent, I was like, oh, good news is we'll be able to take over more of our portion. And then we pulled up the map, and I was like, sorry, you're still building it. But we are working together on it. It is a major thing, and it will be coming to fruition in the next several years. So, other questions that jump right out at you on that document?
With the Superstition Vistas, is that $10 million money we're getting for development fees?
So what's happening in Superstition Vistas, part of the development agreement there for that master plan community is that they will build the park with community facilities district money. So they'll have a district that pays, those folks that live there will pay a building tax and other taxes. They will build it, and then they will be dedicating it to the city of AJ. We will pay a proportionate share of the maintenance, and the development will actually pay a proportionate share of the maintenance, but it will be open to all city residents. There will be portions in there, not within the $10 million part. There'll be portions that are private, so they'll probably have a pool or things that a normal community would have that is membership only. People who live there, part of their HOA, they swipe to get in. But there will be lots of other amenities that are open to the public that anybody in the public can visit. There will be another dog park on that end. They are planning an adventure playground that's really cool and exciting. They just selected the construction manager at risk who's going to be building some of that stuff, and they've been designing it, so we'll be able to share some more of that stuff here very soon. And their hope is that that will be opening sometime September of 2023. So not next September, but a year from there, so it's not far away. And yes, so that's in red because it's not actually coming out of the city's funds.
I like it.
Yes. And that is where some of those amenities that you guys are identifying that are needs, if we don't have a place to put them here, they might end up down there. And it's not that far. So everybody kind of looks at it like it's like 4 or 5 miles away. Our city has not grown that long, and we do have some places in town where some of our amenities can go as well that we'll be identifying. What are other major questions that you have?
I see the demolition of the admin building.
Oh, yes. I'm glad you brought that up because that we'll be discussing that quite a bit this year. So I won't go into detail of the conditions of the current, so the buildings that we're in currently used to be the old police department long, long ago. And it's all been converted. It's modular buildings that are just kind of pieced together, and you can only imagine the types of things that might live underneath or in the attic or wherever else. It's an area that we have stopped making a public area. We moved all of our public interface over to the multi-gen center because that's the look that we want people to have. The city manager's vision and the city council long ago master planned that area, and those buildings were supposed to be gone long ago, and they just haven't due to money. And so this year, though, they have identified money this year for the design of adding our admin building or our admin offices onto the other side of the multi-gen center. So that design work will happen this year, and then hopefully construction will be sometime next year. It couldn't be soon enough for Carol or anybody else, or Jamie or myself or any of us.
You're referring to the north end of the MGC.
Yes, I am. Yep. We want to preserve our view from our walking track. There's a lot of things that'll go into that thought, but
Yeah.
there used to be the idea of a whole another building, another campus that we would be going to. And if that's not happening, we need to move out of the buildings we're in soon.
Yeah, you
So,
want to be there during demolition.
yeah. So it's time to get rid of that whole area, so.
Oh, the members.
Does that also include that conference room next door to the police department? You know, that,
No, so good question. That's the Park Ranger building and the conference center room that's there, that will all stay. That's still in a good building. It's an actual real building that was built. And more recently, I mean, it still was like probably 30 or 35, maybe 40 years ago, but it's a real building. So it's still in good condition, and Rangers will stay there, and that conference center is a training room for all of City Hall. So that will all stay. So it's just the two buildings that are next to where I'm at
okay.
Now,
that are going away.
you guys haven't had any rattlesnakes show up. Kathy Conley told me about finding a couple.
Yeah,
Just
we don't have
lazy
rattlesnakes. Yep.
in
I'm
the
not,
office.
maybe they would get rid of the other problem that we have. So, not sure what would be worse.
Rattlesnakes, late the mice.
Yes, exactly.
Big mice.
Yeah. Huge, that's what they say in our work orders, huge rat found. Okay. Any other questions on this?
No.
Okay, and we'll be looking at, so when we talk about our strategic plan, we want to make it be something more that this group is going to be reviewing annually. So once we get it situated, it'll be something that is reviewed annually. Things like this document will be reviewed annually at that time, and just giving you guys a little bit more understanding of kind of where we're at. Where do we need help? Where do we need guidance? Where do we need somebody else to help us with, asking for funding or whatever that might be? The city is in a good position right now because of the ARPA funds and some of the other funds that have come in recently to repair infrastructure and other types of things. And so I think we're going to have a really good opportunity to be able to fix some of these items here in the near future.
Liz,
Yes.
could we get a list of the, some of those, of the ideas, I guess, we all put together? So that we can kind of just go back over those ideas? Maybe
Absolutely.
refresh our.
Yes,
refresh-
I will add that as well as this on to next meetings, just as sort of here's the recap of them while we move on to those next items that I had listed earlier. List of ideas. And I think it will be fair enough to share with you what's at the new development at that same time. So that way you can kind of see what are things that we don't have a lot of control in the very first park that's happening because it's part of their whole model home attraction, blah, blah, blah. But you'll be pleasantly surprised to see that it checks off things off of the list that we've started going. So that'll be nice. And so that concludes this section of the master plan for this item.
Okay. Thank you, Liz. Now we'll go to the next part, which is update on Dutchman Dog Park.
So I am going to share just a couple of quick things, and then I'll turn it over to Jamie to share just some updates on the operational items. So construction is really, if you drive by it anytime in these last couple of weeks, it's moving really at a quick pace finally again. There are 3 items I think I shared with you before that slowed us down just because of manufacturing delays. So our fencing, which is all here now, we've had that for a little while now, and that's starting to get installed. Our light poles for our solar lighting, the poles themselves are still on back order. They were ordered long ago, but they're supposed to be here by the end of this month. And then the worst thing that's holding us up is our Ramada, which is going to sit right out here. It was ordered at the very beginning of the contract. So the moment the contract was signed, our permitting department gave the reviewed permits so that way they could order the Ramada immediately. They knew that would be the biggest lead time. It's still not here. So they're just having a lot of delays due to COVID, manufacturing items, people to build it, whatever it is. It seems, it's very frustrating, but it is what it is. We've been told that it will be delivered in March, but they will not give us an actual date. So that is one item. The nice thing is that it is outside of the fence. So worst case scenario now is as long as we get in the light poles, everything can kind of keep moving, and our hope is that we will be completing construction sometime mid to the end of March. Please don't go out and say that that's the final for sure thing. That's just where it's looking at right now. But it is really still exciting. That's not very far away, and Jamie will be sharing a little bit more about what the citizen group has been talking about as far as our soft opening and what our plans are for that, as well as some of our operational items that we have determined. The other part that I wanted to share quickly is our installation before I turn it over to Jamie. So as we've shared before, the Public Art Commission, they had picked the dog park as their first public art installation. They have about $100,000 and they're going to use $50,000 of that, paired up with our $10,000 that we have to use because every project, new build project, has to give a percentage of that money percentage of what is spent has to go towards public art. So they're going to get to use our approximately $10,000 with their $50,000 that's sitting in a pot from other development that's happened throughout the city. And they're going to be doing their first major public art installation. And so that just released this week. They have a consultant that has been working with the Public Art Commission on a regular basis to develop their policies, to develop their request for proposal process with artists. And then it gets released into this whole like nationwide, well, it's really like the southern region, but a search for an artist. And the proposal goes out, and then artists will get to respond to it and actually submit what they're going to propose to do. And so that just got released. I think at the end of February is whenever the deadlines are that they have to submit their proposals. And then there is a small panel that is made up of a variety of different members that will help select the artist that is going to be doing that, and then they'll work closely with us. One of the things that's really nice is that part of this proposal and part of this whole process, working with the consultant, this consultant works directly with Scottsdale and Mesa and Gilbert and all the other cities and their projects. So they know what it means to come in and do public art. So it's not just any artist. You know, I work on art at my home and I'm a great artist. I do beautiful work, but installing it in a location that is going to be seen by the public, visited by dogs, let me just say that, and all of that, they know that these are things, they understand that this is the world that they're working in. So that's really encouraging. The one thing I wanted to share with you is that there will be one representative from Parks and Recreation that will be on this panel. We have not selected that person yet. If anybody here is interested, there are, I don't know what the qualifications are other than you do have to have some type of art background or some type of experience in some way, shape, or form. I think that they're open to what that looks like, but if anybody here is interested in being a part of that panel, let me know, and I can certainly look into whether or not, what are the qualifications to be on that panel. It might be somebody from our department. It might be, we might bring back Nick Blake. If there's nobody that wanted to do it, he might be somebody who can lend that architectural and engineering perspective to the panel. But we wanted to share it with you all too and see if there was anybody here. So you can just let me know individually. It's not a decision for the whole group to make. But we have one spot on the group. And then they do have to work with us to put it in the right place and to install it. So any questions on art before I turn it over to Jamie? All right, thank you.
Well, I tell you, you guys are tag teaming us.
We don't want you to get bored. So as Liz she's already got this nifty map up here. So the dog park is divided into 3 different areas. It is a lot bigger. Maybe you already think it looks big, but it is a lot bigger than what I thought it was when you're down on the ground. This first large area right here is going to be for our active dogs. And we do have, so the fence post give a little bit, so you can see right here where this little hand, can you guys see the hand on your, okay. So that's kind of your fence here. So you can see that we do have some landscape, some dirt in here before you hit turf. There's a really beautiful ribbon curbing that goes around this turf, but then, and your fence line comes all the way out here. So this first area is really big. It's going to be awesome for those dogs that just are going to run, 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 run. The second area over here is dog park area number 2. That is for more of our, what did I say the first one was? This is our active. Did I say active? Okay, good. Second area is for our passive dogs. These are the dogs that might be a little bit shy. They're going to be a little bit timid. They don't need as much space to run, but this is still a really large space. It's just longer and it's just long and skinny. Its fence line really hugs that turf area. So it's almost turf to turf where it's going to be all dog park run in the grass. This third little area over here is my favorite because I think we have something very unique. And if I'm wrong, I just don't know it yet. But this third dog park is going to be used for programming. It's going to be used for Paws and Claws will be able to come exercise their kennel dogs. They'll be able to do adoption clinics out there. We are looking for a dog obedient instructor who wants to come out. We can do classes you register for. This will also be a reservable space, much like you can reserve a picnic Ramada. You'd be able to reserve this. Maybe your dog doesn't play well with anybody, but you still need a place for them to run. We have a lot of dirt and desert in a lot of our yards out here, so this might be an opportunity for those dogs to get grass.
Doggy birthday parties?
Doggy, your pup parties. So this will be a reservable space by the public, and I don't know of any other dog parks that actually have that on a regular basis for their community. When it's not in use and when it's not programmed, it'll be a first come, first serve. So those that still need that time but don't want to pay the $8 to reserve it, then they can, on a first come, first serve, come out there, and it will be single use per family. So if there's somebody out there with their 2 dogs, we will have signage in hopes that people will respect that. They'll have a 45-minute time limit, and then once they leave, it'll be open to the public to be able to use that way. It won't happen right away. I want to, because we don't know exactly an opening date, we want to see how the park gets used, and then shortly after we're open, and once we know it's open, we'll probably have that start early summer, like May timeframe. So I am really excited about that. I always like to be the first to do something when I know it's going to work. So if I know it's not, if I don't know, then I'll wait for somebody else to do it. But I think this is a good call for us. And we've heard that. We've heard a lot of people who aren't quite sure how their dogs are going to do at a dog park, and this is a great way for them to try it out. We do have a citizen committee group. We've been meeting every month, and our next meeting is February 7th. They've been kind of helping work out the rules, some of the etiquette. They've visited other dog parks. They've brought back their thoughts, their ideas. We will be working on that soft opening. Will probably be constituents, folks like yourself, people who've been having a hand in the planning part of it. We'll have a leash cutting ceremony. And then we will have something for that general public that people are used to seeing. We're hoping to use that small area to bring in some local vets, feed stores, of course, Paws and Claws, maybe some of our local rescue groups to be able to hand out information. We do want to make sure we manage this so that way we don't have 300 dogs at our park at one time. I don't think that's an ideal situation. Most grand openings, that's what you're hoping for. But these are dogs, so we're going to try to spread it out. We're going to try to give people options so that way we don't have a 2-hour time frame where we have 300 dogs at the same time. We'll let that naturally happen after we open. I think it is important for you guys to know that you will probably see grass and turf, and it will look like it should be open, but that grass and that turf, that needs time to take. So if people are asking you, well, it looks like it should be open, please help explain the process that in order to make sure that that grass stays nice as long as we can, we need to make sure it's solid before we put the dogs out there. So we will have it so that folks can bring in their own chairs. This is common in other dog park areas. There will be some seating. We're looking at benches now, but we're not going to wait for benches to be able to open the dog park. So if those are one of those things that, yeah, you can get them, but they're on back order, we're going to go ahead. Our dog owners wanted grass. That's what they wanted, grass and fencing, and that's what we can provide right now. But we are looking at some benches to go inside those areas. We know they will fit, but folks will be able to bring some chairs if they need to sit. We really hope that they're chasing their dog. We really hope that they're attentive to where their dog is. That is the idea of the park. So we did put together this trifold. You guys can review this if you have questions. Like I said, this is very much in draft form. If you see edits or grammar, that kind of stuff, feel free to send me an email. If you question any of the items on here, please let us know. We can either explain it, try to make sense, or understand it from your perspective. The other piece that we have for you is we think that we're going to have a lot of first-time dog park users. So we put together a dog park etiquette. So this is kind of not the rules, but kind of things that dog handlers should know when they take their dog to a park. So we've kind of put that on there. This will be, again, this is just cut on cardstock. These will be very nice looking and formatted better. So, and then on the back side, we'll probably put our rules on there as well. That QR code, if you scan it with a smartphone, it should take you to our dog park website. So again, folks that have this, if they want more information, they'll be able to get there in a one-stop shop. Any questions? Did I leave anything out?
Where are the drinking fountains going to be?
Huh?
Where's the drinking fountains going to be?
So we have 2 drinking fountains planned. So it's a human drinking fountain, and then it will have the dog bowl, and then it also has the water bottle filled, like the new
Nice.
features that you see. We really are going to encourage dog handlers to bring their own dog bowls just for sanitary reasons, but we will, it's a dog park, it needs to have a dog drinking fountain. So we will have 2.
I think one is here, and then one is under the Ramada,
Yep.
didn't he say?
So we have one pretty close to both entrances to the park. And so here is one entrance that will funnel into this side or this side. They're double doors. So you go in through one and that closes and then the next one opens. And then there will be a separate entrance that goes to this third park over here.
I love the Palo Verde passive dogs. I was like, that's cute, a mesquite active dogs.
Liz, have you guys considered issues of flies? Because the grass is a moisture. You might want to check out predator flies. I use that with my horses, and it just cuts down house flies and that from existing.
We will definitely look into what some of the maintenance needs are from some of the other cities.
Just speaking from a neighbor who complained about my horses, but he kept his grass wet, and so that brought up flies because they like the moisture.
Good point. All right, yeah, we'll definitely look into that. I did want to also just bring your attention to operating hours. So we did meet with Pinal County, all the building department heads recently, just to kind of talk about the concerns of, you know, we've said from the day one, whenever we even started talking about this site, that parking there and restrooms and things like that are of concern. And so we wanted to meet with all of the county complex stakeholders and make sure that they were comfortable with the dog park. And so we did share, we identified 2 days out of the week that are their busiest days. And so what we are going to try to do is make those be maintenance or turf resting days. Many other parks, almost every other dog park out there has at least 1 day, if not 2 days, that there's maintenance in the morning and it doesn't open until 1 or so. So we are going to start off with 2 maintenance days just so that we can kind of monitor how that's working. And we picked days that they were the busy, so they're busy court day, DMV. So Mondays and Thursdays, the dog park will open from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m. And the rest of the days of the week, it'll be open 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Restrooms, just as a reminder, so there are not dedicated restrooms at the facility. Folks, during the day, there are public restrooms at the Pinal County complex. We are going to have signage that dogs, other than service dogs, are not allowed over there. We do have more restrooms across the street at Veterans Memorial Park. I know it's going across a crosswalk and all of that kind of stuff, but if somebody was desperate, there is certainly a bathroom that they can get to. Again, we were assured by all of our citizen groups in the early planning phases when we chose the county as our site that wasn't one of the #1 priorities for the dog park. It's certainly a nice thing, But most people come planning with what amenities are going to be there. And so again, it can be something we can look at for the future if it's even a possibility. I don't think there was anything else really exciting, but I did want to share with you the dog, the hours. And then you all had looked at our rules a long ago. Some of them will be worded for liability things in the very beginning with looking at those with Joel. But other than that, we haven't changed anything based on what you guys had advised a few months ago. And that concludes our, Jamie and my report on the dog park. Is there anything else that you have questions on?
Again, with the do's and don'ts, we will be having a billboard for all dog handlers to see, right?
Yes, so there will definitely be park rules when they come in. And then some of these things that maybe are the most common things that we really want people to be aware of, we will have individual signage for those items throughout. Jamie had a really great idea of doing, so Coroplast, like it's the sign that's kind of plastic, doesn't cost very much. Instead of investing in permanent signs,
Right.
putting up some temporary signage that still looks nice. It's not just paper and gonna get all gross, but it'll look nice and have our graphics on it. And we'll put those up and see kind of what are the needs once we've been open, of what are some of the real things that people need to be reminded of.
Right.
So yes.
Do you have anything there regarding heat, people leaving their dogs in the cars? Or,
No, but we
Anything
could
like
certainly, that's
that.
certainly a great thing to add to our, things that are good for people to know, for sure.
or just a reminder, that,
When the temperature gets to a certain amount, it's best that they
Absolutely.
don't stay in the car.
Yeah. And there might be some things like that rather than adding it into the list of, 20 rules,
right.
that we have some temporary signage or our A-frames that get put out into the area to remind people, like right as they're coming off the parking lot of, don't leave your dog in the car, kind of thing. So, yeah, we can
But they may
definitely,
put one dog in the car and have one exercising or whatever. and
yeah. Yeah, hopefully not.
not-
But yes, that's a great idea to add that reminder. Our site is going to have a lot of things like that, resources for people and reminders. So I think those are all good things that will definitely be working. And Paws and Claws has a whole lot of, they've had a lot of weigh-in. Jamie's met with them several times, and they've had a lot of weigh-in into some different things for the park. So I think that'll be good. Yes?
When it goes to open, could we see if Paws and Claws has somebody who would be there to help the people with their dogs if they have a question or a problem?
So I don't know if Jamie wants to answer that. Do you want to come up and answer your thing?
I'm just thinking of ahead of the time.
of it.
Yeah, so our focus group committee that we've been meeting with,
Yes.
one of their priorities and their goals is to be able to get volunteers that will kind of serve as greeters.
Okay.
Those folks who will come out and maybe, Paws and Claws is already strapped for volunteers just to do their regular day-to-day operations.
Right.
But again, the dog owners asked for this. They've been very vocal. They've been very active. We're hoping that once the doors open, they'll continue to be that way, and we'll be able to use some of them to come in and kind of, welcome to the park. Here's your free poo bags. Here's some things that, and to answer questions. And park staff, we'll be very proud. We'll be very, protective and kind of eyeing it and being around as it opens and people start to use it to also be, kind of those eyes and ears. It is right across the street, so I think we'll do a good job of being accessible for that reason.
Okay. I don't have anything else. Anybody else has a question? No? Okay, Liz, we'll be moving on now to call to the public. I see we got a couple of people here. Are they public or was somebody here?
Both.
Both? But nobody wants to talk? Okay.
Just Parks and Recs fans. Thank you. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you for, there you go. Okay. We'll move on to number 10, which is call for future agenda items. Start with the board. Frank?
Nope.
Luciano?
No.
No.
No, I'm good, thanks.
Nope. Judy?
No.
No.
They were so thorough this time. Oh, my
Yes,
goodness.
they were.
Yeah. Okay, so we have no future items.
Master plan is the only
Yes.
Master plan, okay.
I have no picture.
And the list of our
Our
ideas
amenities, yeah.
type of thing.
I will make sure that's included in the strategic plan agenda item, is that we'll make sure we bring back that list, and we'll be doing the new things that I had talked about today as well.
Perfect.
Okay, we've already gone through that. Selection of meeting dates, times, location, and purpose. Our next meeting is scheduled for 6 PM on March 2nd, 2022, in the City Council chambers here. Do I need a motion to accept that? Someone want to give me a motion?
I move that the Parks and Recreation Commission hold a regular meeting on March 2nd, 2022 at 6 PM in the City Council chambers located at 300 East Superstition Boulevard.
There we go. Do I have a second?
You have a second?
Not a second.
He beat you to it this time.
Okay.
I gotta be quick.
Okay, do I have, we've already done that. I have a second. Carol, we need a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Vice Chair Judy Bory,
Yes.
Commissioner D.L. Kine,
Yes.
Commissioner Luciano Bootson,
Yes.
Commissioner Frank Shanebeck,
Yes.
Commissioner Heather Muller,
Yes.
Commissioner Terrell Moore,
Yes.
Chairman Wayne Standage.
Yes.
Thank you, it's unanimous.
Okay, at this time, we'll adjourn at 7:15 PM. And we're done.
Oh, Jamie, I was looking here. Is your birthday?